Understanding who is calling the shots at your client is critical. The executive sponsor is the highest ranking leader for your client that has accountability for the outcome that your product can deliver. If you are supporting recruiting software, it might be the vice president of talent or the chief human resources officer. If you're supporting accounting software, maybe it's the chief financial officer, and so on. This person may or may not make budgeting calls for upsells and renewals, but they have the organization authority. So helping them to understand the value of your partnership and getting their help holding their teams accountable for playing their part is critical. A good question to identify this person is, if this goes great, which executive would get the accolades in your next board meeting? Or as we report out against our shared goals, which leader is most likely to want to know the results and who do they report to? The key point of contact, or POC, is key to your success. This is your day-to-day person. They may play the face of your client, coordinating everyone internally behind the scenes for you, or they could play the bottleneck. This person is the main gatekeeper of the partnership. So invest most of your time and energy into getting this relationship right. A good question to identify this person is, who will I be working with to be the project manager for your side during implementation and beyond for your company? If the client hasn't appointed someone and has you juggling communication with a bunch of departments, try requesting a primary point of contact. If they assign someone who is not responsive or isn't motivated, try going back to the decision maker or the executive sponsor to see if there's someone else with perhaps more bandwidth. End users are the people that will use your software directly or benefit from it. Sometimes they roll up to the executive sponsor, sometimes they don't. If they are outside of the organization of the leaders that you are working with, you may struggle to get their attention or even get permission to engage with them with training and other communication. You will want to get introductions to influential leaders from every division of end users that you will be working with. For example, if the support team bought ticketing software to make it easier to communicate with engineering, you won't get very far without cooperation from engineering too, who may not have been involved in the purchase decision. Some questions to ask are, which teams do you believe will use the product? Who leads those teams? What's the best way to communicate with teams? And so on. Sometimes the person who decided to buy the product and the team in charge of administering it aren't the only ones who are impacted by the decision. So do your best to understand the situation, uncover this early. When you discover the managers of end users are beyond your key contacts, ask if you can get an introduction to those teams to minimize disruption while you're bringing new capabilities to their team. Give them a little pitch about why your product was selected and the benefits that they will see. Ask their advice for navigating change management with their organization. Often, they just want to feel heard and considered. Helping their buy-in will go a long way to removing obstacles to get the product adopted across complex organizations. Maybe it's renewal time and the decision maker is getting a pulse check about how your product is liked. Or maybe usage of your product is optional and it depends on being top of mind with end users. Having strong advocates amongst the end user is key. They could be a secret weapon because they have access that you as a vendor will never have and peer credibility that's hugely powerful. Champions are your super users who have kind of a vested interest in helping other end users, and their peers. To identify them, you can ask, do any team members have incentives tied to the result of our successful partnership? Or when you were evaluating solutions, who was most excited about this product? If your client had a trial or a pilot, finding the person or people who took up the flag for your product instead of a competitor is huge. Those folks will want to prove that their opinion was right. They might be able to tell you, I'm going to be working behind the scenes to make sure that this program is a success. Or you could use analytics to identify who is using the product the best. Those super users will want to make sure that your product continues to be available, and you may be able to nurture that loyalty to create an internal promoter. Once you find your champions, encourage their advocacy, amplify their voices for maximum impact. Don't overlook the decision maker. The decision maker is the one who makes the ultimate decision to authorize the budget expenditure for your product and any future expansions or renewals. They may or may not be the same person as the executive sponsor. For example, when the IT department holds the budget for all software and technology, but the department using your software is not IT, make sure that you know who is really calling the shots. Because you could have a great net promoter score all contract long, and your point of contact loves working with you, but when renewal time comes up, they have no authority to authorize the deal. A good question to identify this person is, who will be deciding at the end of this contract if this is something you would like to continue with next year? Or whose budget does this line item roll up to?